Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Face band, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening and welcome back to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media platforms, but you know that already because this probably isn't your first time visiting, but if it is, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. If it is your first time visiting, you should go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media you see listed down below and in the description. And you should come join our amazing community by following that Discord link you see in the description as well, because we have tons of amazing activities you could be a part of by joining our incredible community. We'd love to have you. Just come join the family. You could be one of us. We'd love to have you with us. So just come on down. Come join the family. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa. It is our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle. Not our only Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle, but our flagship Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle, because this is the story of the Sept leadership of the Sept of the Evening Star, the Sept that has taken control of the Tampa area from those dastardly kindred that have had a stranglehold over the city of Tampa for many, many, many years. But as that leadership has started to crumble, the Garou have started to reclaim the territory. But the kindred don't seem to be the only threat in the area, as new threats emerge, literally sprouting from the ground. But we will hear more about those threats as the stories continue to unfold. First, let's introduce the amazing players that make Rage Across Tampa possible, because without those players, I'd be literally shouting into the void. And while you could watch that, and as entertaining as that would be, as somebody who looks into the mirror every morning and shouts at themselves, I can tell you it's not as entertaining as you think it might be. So let's introduce those players. Players Say hello and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, a legit snack, and I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi, everybody. I am Nori. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Hi, everybody. I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
Hey everyone, my name's Preston. I play Jason Dreams-In-Decay Thorn, Theurge of the Bone Gnars.
Champ, I'm going to rate that introduction a snack with 2 C's. So, as I said, new threats have been emerging in the city of Tampa. And when I say they're sprouting from the ground, I mean that quite literally, because one of the threats that Tampa has been dealing with is these strange plants that seem to be sprouting from the very ground that we walk on. Plants that seem to be sourced from Piney Point, a facility that you have investigated, but not thoroughly, as Lucas has ventured there a couple of times, but not recently in the past several months, as his last encounter there was with a woman named Vanessa. And encountering Vanessa, he saw that a greenhouse was being erected and experiments were being done, but he didn't want to pursue them further because he got a very ick feeling from his encounter there and his encounter with Vanessa. Well, now it's understandable why he was getting an ick feeling, because the plants that seem to have come from that location seem to be a lot more than they should be, possessing interesting abilities and powers like the ability to see. And I mean that quite literally, as the plant that was encountered by this very pack had eyes that could blink and view, and when removed from the ground seemed to dissolve almost instantaneously at a rapid rate, faster than plants should be able to do so. But those aren't the only plants out there in the world. The pack has yet to discover what other kinds of plants may be out there and what they are capable of doing. It seems also that these plants are venturing as far north as Michigan, as it seems they are being smuggled out in bags of fertilizer and being planted in locations owned by a company known as High Quality Builders, which seems to be a subsidiary of a much larger organization that you have come to know as Pentex. Pentex being the mega corporation that seems to be the connecting body to all of the various companies you have dealt with in the past. Whether it's Endron, whether it's High Quality Builders, whether it's this facility at Piney Point. Whatever the case may be, these various companies all seem to lead back to this mega corporation known as Pentex. This seems to be the greatest threat you have ever had to deal with, other than the leeches. And it seems, based off of the history that you have done, the research you have done into the past, this isn't the first time that Pentex has worked with the leeches. This isn't the first time that Piney Point has been involved in the history of the Garou in Tampa. Because the previous sept, the fall of the previous sept, is tied to Piney Point. And it seems Bateman, the new prince of Tampa, is tied to Piney Point as well. Our story tonight begins, however, with Dreams-In-Decay, Jason Thorne, because his research is into something else. With the opening of the new cairn, there have been many secrets unveiled. This cairn, this ancient artifact, this ancient special ritualistic place, seems to have kept many secrets, withheld many ancient much lore buried within it. And with the awakening of this cairn, more and more of these secrets have been revealed. As Eliza has delved into the depths of these secrets, she has brought Dreams-In-Decay in to learn more. She has told Dreams-In-Decay what she has found. And it seems in revealing these secrets, he has come to learn more as well. So, as our story begins, Jace, your dreams start as they often have before. You find yourself in the bar back in Columbus, Ohio. Except it is in ruin. But this is how it always starts. The bar is covered in mildew and cracked. The stools are broken or toppled over. Many of the tables look like they have been snapped in half. The walls have moss growing over the side, and much of the glass is shattered. The building looks like it's been in disarray and ruin for years. As you look around the facility, this is a familiar sight. This is how the dreams always start. But this time, there is something very, very different. Because seated on top of one of the tables is a wolf. This wolf, however, has gray fur clinging to almost a skeletal figure. And half of its face is completely barren of skin, revealing the skull beneath. One burning red eye stares from beneath the skull as it watches you, perched upon the table.
You look a little worse for wear, friend.
I have seen better days.
Yeah, probably a little more full in those other days. True.
But I have seen worse.
What have you seen?
Let me show you. The wolf stands, and as it does so, you can see just how desiccated and skeletal it has become. The skin almost hangs from its body, its ribs showing as it clings to the sides, and one of its legs is also skeletal. One of its hind paws is just bones, its claws scraping against the wood of the table. And when it climbs down from the table, you can almost hear the clicking and scraping of the bones within its body as it moves. It starts walking over towards the doorway to the outside.
Follow.
As it pushes against the door, leaving, It doesn't exit to the city street that you're used to seeing. Instead, it exits to an open plain, a field, a completely unknown place to you. Seemingly, perhaps, Middle America, maybe Kansas or Indiana, maybe Nebraska, hard to say. One of those flyover states that you would ignore otherwise. Maybe another part in Ohio, hard to say. But it's very different because as you emerge, there are no signs of civilization to be seen. There isn't even farmland. Overhead, there's a great storm. Clouds are rolling and rumbling. There's thunder and lightning. A large crack can be heard as lightning strikes. And then another, and then another. And then, far off in the field in front of you, a large lightning bolt hits the ground, breaking open the earth. And then from that earth, fire starts to burn and smoke starts to rise up into the sky. From that smoke comes shadow. From that shadow comes 3 large stalks emerging from the earth, varying in shape and size. One large, thick, almost a bulbous mass that flops across the ground, heaving, almost too heavy to lift itself up. Another strong, reaching up into the sky, violently lashing out. And then the third, slender, coiled, weaving across, almost slyly coiling upon itself, ready to spring. These 3 stalks make varying noises, hisses, shrieks, cries, wails. The skeletal wolf looks towards you, its eye burning that bright red. Behold, the brothers. What once was 1 becomes 3.
Why, why show me this?
To show you what comes next.
You speak of a warning?
No. Almost immediately, 2 of the stalks, the slender one and the large, violent, muscular one, go streaking off, breaking off from the third. From around you, flanking to your side, moving in front of you, come three entities, almost passing through you and in front of you. Come a turtle, a horned serpent, and a wolf, but not quite a physical wolf, almost a wolf formed out of gusts of wind. Almost like an icy wolf made out of frozen wind. This large, thick, bulbous mass starts shrugging its way forward, almost like moving like a large caterpillar. And as it does so, it starts spitting out this disgusting bile to the ground. And where it hits the ground starts to sizzle as if it's being burned by acid. The three forms in front of you, the turtle, the horned serpent, and this frozen wind, confer. And the turtle turns and starts to move towards the large bulbous mass. The northern wind attempts to follow, but the horned serpent blocks the path. Behold, the brothers wolf. Eldest, middle, and youngest. As the turtle lumbers forward in its slow pace, as a turtle does, it moves ever forward towards this large lumbering mass. It looks back over its shoulder towards its brothers one last time before turning towards the mass. And that, as it does so, from beneath its shell, several wolves emerge, moving forward, becoming an army, breaking out, flanking in front of it, moving like an entire army of wolves, becoming a vanguard. The wolves are tiny in comparison to this large turtle. And as you look, you can tell that the size of this battlefield, you must be a giant in comparison to it. You must be taking a God's eye view in comparison to this battlefield. Because as you look to the horned serpent, as you look to the northern wind, you can see that beneath them, there are wolves and men as well, gathered. Those by the turtle begin to perform some kind of ritual. As they do so, the large, vacuous mass begins to recoil and shriek. Those of the northern wind attempt to move forward again, but those of the horned serpent block them. As the large vacuous mass shrieks, the wolf looks to you. Behold, the banishment of the Eater of Souls. Behold, the death of the middle brother. The large, thick creature shrieks and starts to twitch and shrink and decay and shrivel up as it recoils upon itself, breaking up and crinkling in until it disappears into nothingness. And then the wolves and men start to drop to the ground. Some disappear as soon as the large mass disappears. Others just fall away to ash. The turtle starts to pull itself into its shell before toppling over and disappearing as well. The wolf, made of frost and wind, howls out in anger and sadness. It snarls at its older brother, the horned serpent, before turning and moving away. The horned serpent hangs its head and turns and moves the opposite direction. The skeletal wolf looks to you. Behold, the breaking of the bond of brotherhood.
The sacrifice that was done here, is it known to many?
No.
This place that we're at now, is it scarred by any means by what has just happened?
No. The wolf turns and starts to walk upon the ground, away from the site of the ritual and of the sacrifice.
Take a moment, kind of look and take everything in, trying to absorb what he has just seen. And then eventually make his way and follow the wolf.
As you follow the wolf, you walk into a plume of smoke, and everything changes and shifts. You find yourself in the cairn once again. In the middle of the clearing, the trees standing sentinel surrounding you. You see Aspen and Jester and Charles and Lucas and Eliza. And Artie. Behold, the awakening. And you watch as they perform the ritual to awaken the cairn. And as they do so, as the trees awaken and come to life, off in the water, far in the distance, a turtle shell emerges from the deep and starts to stir. None have been born to the turtle since that day.
Just to make sure I'm getting this right. They awakening the Karen adjacently woke up the turtle.
Perhaps.
Am I able to seek out this turtle?
In the Umbra.
Gonna take note of that spot where you saw the turtle emerge, and then try to retain it into memory. But thank you. I don't know what to call you, but a great skeletal wolf feels like a little too much on the nose.
You can call me the guide.
Well, the guide, I appreciate you showing me this. I will confirm with the elder that is present here in Tampa. We'll see what we can do about this. Try and find the turtle.
This will not be the last time we meet.
Until we meet again.
You have awakened many things.
More than just the turtle.
More than just the turtle.
I will seek out in the Umbra. Try and see what I can find.
It still slumbers, but it slowly wakes.
The Eater?
No, the turtle.
Okay.
The Eater has changed.
Did it take a new form?
It all takes a new form.
It's a lot more than I was initially told about. But I'm already here, so
You have already learned much. That is for another time. Now, awake. And with that, the dream ends. And you find yourself starting awaking in your bed. What goes through your mind those first few moments as the memories of the dream linger?
he first gets up, rubs his eyes, makes his way over towards the bar, as he normally does after any type of interaction, and starts prepping his coffee because he doesn't want to fall back to sleep now. He makes it very, very strong.
We'll say the bar seems unfamiliar at first, as you're expecting to be in the Columbus bar, so it takes a moment to reorient yourself to the fact that you're in Tampa, and you're at the Tampa bar, which you are still getting used to, having just set up, having just put things in their proper place. But after a moment, you're able to reorient yourself and start making the coffee, getting everything together. But eventually you do put together a pot of coffee that feels like it's more grounds than water.
Take a seat at the bar, walking around and the few stools he has, trying to take in the serpent, the turtle, and the frosted wolf. Seeing the horned serpent stopping the wolf from continuing to try and go help, trying to assist, just letting the turtle. There's more to this story that isn't being seen. The turtle itself waking up in the Umbra brings up a bunch of questions. Like, where could it possibly be within the Umbra? Because the Umbra is very different than the actual material plane. So trying to just getting to the other side's one thing, but actually tracking it down is completely different. And who is this guide, and why? Why has he not been brought to speed by this rat? Told him the spirits needed help. But this seems to be a very big issue that happened even before he got there. So why was this not brought to his attention? Like, they get secrets, but on a job, kind of need to know all the details.
Perhaps a conversation with Rat is in order with all of this new information coming to light and even more questions entering your mind. This is a lot of information for one theurge to take in. A lot of history, a lot of lore, and a lot left to be discovered. We transition now across town to Jester. Jester, you have been going through a lot on your own the last few days. Tell me what the last few days have been like for you as you have gone through a variety of emotions, dealing with the new pack, dealing with Aspen, dealing with Charles. Where's your head at currently?
Probably, honestly, all over the place. I have still been very confused on my feelings for Charles, especially after what Aspen talked about. Like, she pretty much voiced a lot of the fears I already had spinning in my head. That's definitely like after Leon and losing people. The same time, I know Aspen is not well, but I'm hopeful because it seemed like after the hunt progress was made, she was able to even say Aiden's name. So there is hope in that, but mostly I've been busy trying to just keep things afloat, mostly patrolling and looking for plants and cleaning up and trying to study for journalism. So all over the place, really.
So, on one of those opportunities where you're able to stop by the apartment when Charles isn't home, you sneak in to change clothes, maybe get a quick shower. You're in the process of getting dressed when your phone rings. And as you pick up the phone and check the caller ID, you see Artie's name on the caller ID.
Hmm. I'll I'll answer it and be like, "Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
uh, it's going. A lot's going. How are you? I haven't heard from you in a while."
Yeah, um, got a got a lot going on my end as well. I wanted to check in with you, and give you an update on some things. Uh, oh God, where to begin? I'm in Colorado.
Oh, how is that going?
That is a very complicated question. Uh, I have. I'm getting a lot better at regeneration, if that means anything.
Raven's beating your ass?
More than you know. She's got a lot of aggression and a lot of unresolved issues.
Yeah. Um, she did that a lot with me. I mean, I was new and, you know, snotty teenager. I remember this one time I snuck out and she caught me, and I'm pretty sure she broke at least 20 bones in my body. And there was a rib in one of my lungs, and it hurt to breathe for like a month until it healed.
Sounds about right. Luckily, she hasn't killed me yet, so I'm counting that as a plus, and she's not considering me a trespasser, and she's at least letting me get a few words in between beatings, so that's a start. But on the plus side, I've also gotten some time with Gibbous.
Oh, how is she?
She's okay, actually. And she's listening, like we hoped she would. And she doesn't hate you. She actually misses you. And she's not a fan of the way things are going on. She doesn't like any of this. And she wishes it were different, but she also isn't willing to go too hard against Raven. Obviously, she wants to support Raven, but she's listening, and that's something.
That is something.
So I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on the possibility of getting her to talk to you, at least to hear your voice and you hear hers. If it means a few more beatings to get it done, I'll get it done. But there's a dialogue still to be had here. I do have to. I was a part of that whole mess too. And you weren't a part of that decision. You had a part of your family taken from you. The least I can do is help get it back. At least try to. That's what I'm out here doing anyway, isn't it? Among other things.
Yeah, but I still don't like the idea of you getting beaten every day.
If there's one thing I've learned about being what we are, pain is temporary, glory is forever. At least that's what I tell myself while I'm bleeding on the floor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How are things there?
Well, like there's not the impending sense of doom like there used to be when Mary was around, but still really insane. That's how I feel. Like we have a new pack and they are a bunch of fucking assholes.
These are the reinforcements we kept getting told about?
Yeah. They one of them broke the litany like I think 3 times when they met Aspen.
3 times?
Yeah. It was either twice or 3 times. And the thing is, like, he'd already broken the litany before he came here. Along with another one that broke the litany before they came here.
Aspen must be shitting a brick.
She's passed it off to Charles at the moment, so he's the one that's dealing with them.
That's amazing.
She's dealing with everything else. Or trying to.
Yeah. Interesting update about that. She texted me. I mean, more than just the usual updates.
Oh?
Yeah. She said she missed me. Nothing crazy, nothing more than that, but just and I miss you. And I gotta say, it was really hard not to try and drive home after that, but I texted her back, which has been really hard not to do this whole time, but that's progress, right?
Yeah, that's definitely progress. In the background, I'm doing like just a silent fist pump. She it's been very slow, but she did mention Aiden's name the other day while we were hunting rabbits to give to him because she thinks he needs a kill every day.
Boy.
Yeah.
That must be a comedy of errors.
She's getting better.
I'm sure she is.
So
You gotta bring like a camera or something sometime.
how am I gonna get? So you want me to attach a GoPro to my neck?
Yeah, they do it with cats all the time.
Oh my
I've
god.
seen the videos. She's gotta attach one and run around and, hiss at
I'll
each
see.
other or dig through the garbage or something. I don't know.
I'll see what I can do.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Sorry. That was interesting. Yeah. But it was progress.
Yeah, I'm glad.
So, how are you? How are things?
I am busy,
I bet.
but I'm all right.
I'm sorry to have left you in a lurch like that.
It's okay. You you need to heal, and you weren't getting it here.
It's it's getting better. It's hard, but being away has given me time to think about things, and weirdly enough, the beatings help. As strange as that is, I get you a lot more being here. Gives me a lot of understanding and perspective, and I think being in these different places, like the time I spent in Chicago, helps me understand Lucas a little bit better. They do things very different there. It's a lot more formal, a lot more regimented, and a lot more official. And it's tense, really tense. Like the way we have the leech situation, the like, it's so much worse there because they have some sort of like truce with the leeches there. And it's like a tentative truce.
So, just like I don't remember the word, but like just we won't attack you, you don't attack us sort of
Kind
thing.
of, yeah. It's a weird thing that they have going on. They've kind of come to some sort of agreement or some sort of peace, but it's like on the edge of a knife. It's constantly in a state of all shit could go down at any moment. And they're always looking for a fight. They're always waiting for a fight. And it seems like it's a powder keg waiting to explode. And I can't imagine what it would have been like for Lucas growing up in that kind of environment his whole life. So I get why he'd be him.
Yeah.
It gave me a whole new respect for him and a whole new understanding of him and why he'd not want to say a lot or do a lot. Why he wouldn't want to tell people stuff because, well, honestly, it's kind of a don't ask, don't tell place. It's kind of a one slip up could ruin everything place. And to be cast out of that place would be devastating.
Well, he's he lost Shashgat. And I don't know how well he took Aiden's death either. It's you know how he's very close-chested about things, but
Yeah,
he seems pretty angry about it.
can't blame him.
You can't either. I'm not telling him not to feel his anger because I get it.
He needs to work it out. He needs to work through it. We gotta let him get his revenge for this. Because.
I know.
But we can't let him push himself away from us.
I
He's
know.
going to be one of those guys who you try to hug him and he's going to push you away, but you just got to force him into that hug because he needs to know we're here for him and that we love him and that he's one of us because he has been pushed away too much. This place, that place, Chicago, they're not the hugging type. Kind of like
So
Colorado. They show their love by beatings. Chicago, showed their love through formality. They showed their love through ritual and through we need to be aggressively friendly to Lucas to show him that he's one of us. That's what I've learned from my time there, because he won't believe it otherwise. He is going to be skeptical. He's not going to trust. And I get why. I understand why now. In that place, in the little time I was in Chicago, I felt like someone was always looking to stab me in the back or to find out what was wrong with me. Someone was always criticizing me or was looking for the flaw in my game all the time, judging me all the time. Like I was lesser. Like I was the weak link all the time. And I was just an emissary. I can only imagine seeing Anna and what that made him feel. Probably made him feel judged again.
The first time he saw her, he came directly to Charles' house and picked a fight with me.
Yeah. He doesn't trust us, and he doesn't have a good reason to. We need to give him a good reason to. I think we're getting there. Or at least I thought we were getting there, but
I don't agree. We accepted him after he'd been banished. We didn't ask questions. Sure, we didn't aggressively hug him, but we accepted him. We let him in.
that's fair. You're right. You're right.
Aspen didn't listen to the two of us and accepted to let him in the Karen, the new Karen, with Hashigut after
And
he kept it from us.
that cost him something.
It did. There was consequences, but that's not the consequences aren't on us not accepting him.
Yeah, but everything has had consequences for that guy. Wouldn't it be nice if there was something that didn't come with a consequence for once? Wouldn't it be nice if there was something that didn't come with a cost?
Everything has had consequences for all of us. But I'll give him more hugs.
I'm just saying. We can try. We're all on the same side. I want to see him flourish and succeed. And I get him more. I saw Terrence in Georgia.
How'd he take things?
Strangely, I mean, there was emotions for sure, but I think he already knew. In a weird theurge way. He said something about his last conversation with Aiden, that there was something in the way that they were talking that felt like a goodbye. And that he understood that. And that he hoped it wasn't the case, but a part of him knew. And yeah, he was still sad about it. And he wished he could have been there, but he understood why he couldn't. And then I told him a little bit about the cairn and how maybe one day he could see him again, and that made him feel a little bit better. But
Oh, yeah. So this like weird thing happened, right? That
okay,
reminds me. I was with one of the new pack, the Galliard. Was talking to her about the sword and the swing Aiden made because she was curious and wanted to know stories behind them, and a bit about the tree. Well, I didn't really talk about the tree, but she picked up on it, so it's good for her. But she touched the tree, and apparently she got a vision of Aiden's death.
seriously?
Yeah, so
All
the
right,
trees
that's
might.
some bullshit.
Which
The
parts? The trees
okay, all
deferring
right. What?
memory?
Wait, are you telling me like these trees are like those like okay. These trees are like little camcorders where you can watch back memories?
I
And
don't
they
know.
got to discover that first?
They did get to discover it first,
Without
yeah.
fucking tying their souls to trees forever?
Yeah.
That's bullshit. I'm calling it now.
Agreed. But I'm gonna test it out. I don't know if I'm gonna do it on Aiden's tree. I don't think I want to, but I might test on other trees.
Be careful.
I
You
will.
don't know what you're gonna see.
I know. I'll probably
Have Eliza with you at the very least.
definitely. We have a new Bearge, by the way.
What?
Did Aspen tell you?
No.
But she gave you updates. Yeah. His
Oh,
name is
wait. She did. Yeah. I gotta be honest. I kind of skimmed those. She mentioned something about a new guy, and that really made me uncomfortable, so I really skipped that part.
You know you're not getting replaced, right? Like nobody can replace you, Artie.
The day Lucas showed up, I already felt like I was getting replaced, but
You're not just your moon.
I guess that's part of this whole thing for me is I didn't feel like I was doing service to my moon. I didn't feel like I was doing service to my patron. I didn't feel like I was doing service to Gaia. I felt like I was just being the boyfriend. And while I love that, and that has been one of the greatest things in my life, I need to be more than just that. I need to be the brother to you. I needed to be the brother to Aiden. I needed to be there for Lucas and for well, there's more I could have done.
I miss you.
I miss you too. Anyway, tell me about this new guy and why I'm gonna hate the fact that he's there with Aspen and I'm not. Is he handsome? Is he good looking?
I mean, yeah, but
Oh, God.
he's not her type.
Well, first off, what tribe's he from?
He's a Bonar.
He's her type.
Ugh. His name is Jason or Jace. He also has a Garou named Dreams-In-Decay.
Oh, he's
He's
so her type.
He's a theurge. He's come to help with the spirit problem. A bit of a smartass.
Nation?
Yeah,
Well, now he's
But
not her type. That's
but
good.
Rat sent him. Or Rat brought him, technically.
Rat, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Is this
I
the
have no idea.
favor?
No.
Really?
No, it is not. I don't know what that's gonna be. Still.
Huh.
Rat's keeping that in his little furry pockets.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's being good, not causing any trouble. More
No,
than
actually.
rats usually do.
No, he's been pretty helpful. Getting adjusted. Working with the spirits. Like, hasn't caused any trouble, honestly.
Well, good. We needed a theurge. I mean, I'm glad for Eliza. Don't get me wrong, but she got spacey and weird after that Karen got opened, and more help's always a good thing. I felt really worried about taking her out into the field when we had to go do jobs. You know, a young, fit, less handsome rat out in the field is good. So that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
They had a drinking contest in or Aspen and Jace.
It's fine. How'd that go?
They shared secrets and drinks. I'm pretty sure Aspen, though, convinced, because we were at the biker bar, I'm pretty sure Aspen convinced the bartender not to give her alcohol.
That's my girl.
Mm-hmm. Kept that secret for her. You shouldn't feel jealous, though. I'm pretty sure at this point, it's you or nobody. For her.
Yeah, I know. I believe that. I just, the things she said before I left. I never wanted her to think that. And I really hope. I hope she knows that that's not true. That's not why I'm doing this. That's not.
She's hurting. She doesn't know how to deal with it.
I wanted to be there.
I know. But I don't. She didn't want to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's still some things she still believes, like she doesn't want to get close to anybody because she thinks everybody will leave.
Yeah. Well, I'm coming back. I meant that. Got more
Maybe
work
she's-
to do here, obviously. Raven has gripes, and as much as I hate to say it, they're legitimate. I saw
Yeah.
the damage that was done. Joanna got pretty fucked up by this. But she's getting better. She's still there. The light's still on in the attic, so to speak. She's okay. I will tell you that. She's okay.
Good. Do you tell her I said hi?
Of course.
And I miss her too.
Of course. And if I'm lucky, maybe I can get her on the phone with you. That is going to take a little bit of ragabashing on my part. See if I got some old tricks that I can pull off. But she knows that you care. And I know, at least I hope, that she believes that it had to have been necessary.
I hope so.
I believe so. Convincing Raven, on the other hand, that's a whole different story. But if I have to sit here and get my ass kicked a few more times to make that happen, so be it. I know how much they mean to you. And you shouldn't have to choose. It's not right that they made you do that. But they were angry, they were hurt. And just like Aspen, they might have said some things they didn't mean. And while you're doing the work for me, down there, the least I can do is the work for you up here. Because that's what family does.
Thanks. Oh, speaking of, were you able to find out anything about Charles's birthday?
That is an interesting story. So yeah, I tried to look into that. I looked into Bridgeport, Connecticut. Looked into Connecticut as a whole. Couldn't find a birth certificate. Checked local hospitals. Checked states surrounding Connecticut. I can't even find a social security number for Charles. I can't find anything for Charles. Nothing in Connecticut, nothing in Maine, nothing in... nothing. So I don't know how he's been getting around doing the things he's doing, all his business stuff, but no, I'm making no headway. I've found no birth records, nothing. Now I'm starting to ask around in circles here, but that is a slippery slope. Talking to the Silverfangs around here is like talking to the IRS.
You don't have to.
You sure?
Yeah, I might check or find another way. Be
I'll
careful
keep
around them.
looking. I'll keep looking. I can do the thing. I mean, there's not any Silverfangs here in Colorado, but I'm going to be moving on, so eventually, so I'll keep poking, but
Yeah, just be careful with them, with the Silverfangs, about that.
what? Are they going to lecture me to death? Or stare me to death?
Maybe.
Oh. How's all that going?
How's all what going?
You asked about his birthday.
He doesn't know it. People
So
should know
this is
their
just an
birthday.
act of charity?
He helped me a lot.
Oh.
Maybe I'm just trying to return the favor.
Okay. All right. All right. I won't push. I won't push. That's never been our relationship. Well, it has, but not. I won't do it on this. You're already doing me a solid.
I'm working through things.
I got it. But I am going to check in on this again later.
Okay.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
I am coming back. And if you need me, you can call. I know I haven't been as in touch as I'd like to be, but I need this time. And it's working. It's slow, but it's working. And if you need me, I can still help. obviously, but I need this time for me, and it's hard, but it's helping.
I'm glad it's helping. And just do what you need to help heal yourself.
I will. I will. I love you.
I love you too.
I'll see you soon. I'll call soon as I can try and get Gibbous on the phone.
Okay.
Okay. Be safe, sis.
You too.
After that, he hangs up the phone. What's going through your mind after that conversation with Artie?
Starting to wonder if Gibbous may have felt the sorrow and the pain, but Raven said she was fine, but maybe she's not as fine as she thought she was. She was always violent, but every day for just trying to talk seems a bit much.
A lot to consider. More damage may have been done than you'd originally thought. We transition now back to the cairn, where a meeting of two sides, a meeting of two minds, and perhaps a little bit of nostalgia comes to the pack and sept leader. Aspen, you've met with the new pack. You've met with the Hell Hounds, and that has left a lasting impression, to say the very least. And while some of them have stood out more than others, one of them has faded into the background more than the others. One of them has kind of gone by, for the most part, unnoticed. Until Charles mentioned recently that he had tasked one of them with a very important assignment. And now it's time for that report from that assignment. So as you wait at the cairn to meet with Stakes Her Claim, the mentor and elder from the Michigan Sept, a Lupusborn, the first Lupusborn you'll be encountering since Aiden's passing. What are you thinking as you prepare for this meeting?
So Aspen has kind of set up the folding table and chairs. Before she got there, she door dashed some cheeseburgers and some fries, and brought them over. Yeah, they're a little cold, maybe a little stale, but as far as she knows, that's never been a problem. So she gets that all set up. She's interested to see the perspective of the Lupusborn coming in from the pack and what she has to offer when it comes to them, because in Aspen's brain, she desperately wants this new pack to work, but she also wants to be a little bit more hands-on when it comes to what she can do moving forward.
As the time of the meeting draws near, you having arrived early to make sure that everything is set up and prepared for the meeting, you see a mangy red wolf appear at the edge of the tree line of the cairn. And as they come closer, they transition from wolf into the scrawny, dirty, 17-year-old young woman dressed in rags, dirty rags, with short cropped black hair, dirt smudges on her face as she approaches the table. She gives a polite bow of her head, but her eyes are still kind of downcast as she approaches the table.
I'll smile and nod my head as well.
afternoon, Oathbreaker.
Nice to officially meet you. Stakes. Is it okay if I call you Stakes?
Yeah.
Perfect. Please come sit. I got us some food.
She looks at the chair and kind of awkwardly positions herself into it, wiggling her butt a little bit as she tries to find a comfortable way to sit down in the chair before settling. She eventually shifts and turns the chair around so she's sitting backwards on it, spreading her legs out around the sides, and then leaning against the back of the chair. She looks at the food, kind of sniffs a few times. Thanks, I already ate.
Good cheeseburgers. I have it on good authority, but to each their own.
I usually prefer my food raw. No offense.
Okay. None taken. Good to know for next time.
Charles had me scout out the housing development over in Largo. They had fertilizer, and in the fertilizer there were seeds. Freshly planted seeds. Hadn't been there long. Looks like they had been planted less than a week. I chose to dig them out. They hadn't rooted yet. Because they hadn't rooted, they hadn't started to grow. I tried to return them, but they dissolved.
Once you took them from the ground, they disintegrated.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's great to know that when we deal with those kind of things, it's better to keep them within the fertilizer. So that's great information for us to have. I appreciate that.
If I should have checked in before rooting them up, I will do that next time, but I didn't want to waste time.
No, I think what you did was perfect. There's a lot we don't know when it comes to the plants and the fertilizer. We're kind of just getting our bearings when it comes to that. So any help that you could give us is greatly appreciated. I think you did a fantastic job.
When we found the bags up north, we destroyed them immediately. We didn't want to risk anything being found or grown or anything coming of it. So we destroyed them as soon as we found them. So I thought it would be best to destroy it as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. I think that was the best option with not knowing what we're getting into. We plan on looking at some other sites as well to see what we can get our hands on. Maybe a whole bag of fertilizer if we could get something like that. But I think that's the best option. We don't need those growing around civilians and things like that.
It might be good to go by again and look. They may want to replant if they notice that the ground was disturbed.
Okay.
If they notice that the plants don't grow, they may try and replant.
We'll look into it. Unless you believe that you and your pack are suited to look into it.
She considers. We can handle it.
Okay. I know that Charles has been helping them get acclimated, and I know that it's been tricky work. Is there any way I could help on that front?
Be patient. They are young. They didn't ask for this. But they need this. They need this because we all need this. The situation in Michigan wasn't good. They were put in a difficult spot from their change. And there's no good way to make them understand. I don't know why Gaia picked them, but I don't ask. They're mine. And I will raise them, as is my job. They're mine. I will raise them as my own. Even if they are difficult. They deserve a chance. They may be the most difficult ones I've ever raised, but I don't believe Gaia makes mistakes. If they were picked, it's for a reason. They might be what this war needs. Just like this new nation might be what this war needs. At least you seem to think so.
I think they could be exactly what we need, and what we do here is unconventional. So to have, well, a group of young, unconventional Garou around may shake things up. I'm not upset by it in any way, and I think that they could do a lot of good work. I just understand that they maybe weren't educated the way they needed to be educated, or disciplined, I guess, the way they needed to be disciplined.
The war is different there. It's fought differently. They were not taught appropriately for a war down here. They were also resistant to being taught, and those up there were not patient. And when Delphine and Deadbeat became too much of a problem, they unloaded that problem on you. And for that, I'm sorry.
I don't think there's any need to apologize. I've done my fair share of going against the grain, I guess you could say. Oathbreaker isn't for no reason. We've had our own issues here. I've had my own choices that I've made that have been counterintuitive for the betterment of what the nation would say is what we need. So I don't think there's any need to apologize. They came here to help us. And I think that's, whether they did it of their own free will or not, they're here.
I can't predict what they'll do. And I can't force them to be good. I can encourage them. I can push them. But they will do what they will do. And I believe in consequences. I believe that whatever they do, they deserve the consequences of what they do. It's the natural order. But knowing what we're up against, knowing that we're losing this war. I ask for patience.
I can do that. They do. I'm sure you know the risks of coming down here.
Yes.
Are they well aware of? I only spoke to them briefly with everything that happened. There wasn't a whole lot of information I could give them. Are they aware of what it really means to live here?
No. But they will be. One way or another.
Trial
They
by
have
fire.
to.
That's kind of how we do it here. Yeah.
It was the only way to protect them.
You protect them by leaving?
Yes.
How so?
She takes a deep breath, as if trying to figure out how to explain they were being hunted.
By vampires? By what?
The wolf.
Like the wolf.
The wolf.
Okay. We're not unfamiliar with all of that here.
I don't speak of the followers of the wolf. I mean the wolf.
Do you believe
Or
there's
one
enough
of its avatars.
Do you believe there's enough aspects of them that could sway them with the wolf's charisma?
You have seen how they can be tempted. You have seen how you have seen a small bit of where they come from, their origin, their make. I do believe they could be swayed, and that is why we needed for them to leave. Why I needed to protect them.
I appreciate you bringing this up. I know it can't be easy coming in somewhere with a bunch of strangers and putting your best foot forward. I understand that's hard.
If I thought they were safe there, I would have kept them there. But I believe that those that were there, at least those that should have been protecting, were not even safe themselves.
Okay. We're definitely going to do our best to make sure that they stay safe here,
I believe
regardless of all of their transgressions in the beginning or even now. My number one job is to keep all of you safe, anyone who's here.
No.
You don't believe that?
Your
Why not?
number one job is to fight for Gaia. That should be number 2.
And I can only do that better with all of you here. So, hand in hand, if you think about it.
2 1s.
Right. Exactly. Could you give me any insight into the other pack? How we can better figure them out, I guess.
They didn't ask for this. None of us do. But they don't want this either. Genuinely don't want this. Maybe deadbeat, but for the wrong reasons. They need to want it for the right reasons. They need to learn the right reasons. They are broken. They were broken before they were Garou. Becoming Garou didn't fix them. If anything, it may have broken some of them further. But broken doesn't mean bad. I like broken things.
Something you and I have in common, I guess.
They need to be cared for. They don't know what that's like. And those that did had it taken from them. Something I think some of you can relate to.
Yeah, it's kind of all of us here.
They don't trust each other yet. They're learning, but they don't. They don't trust anyone. Nor should they. What has the world done for them? It's taken and taken and taken. Mistakes of youth, foolishness of youth, entitlement of youth and humans. But they aren't stupid. Just young. Inexperienced. But capable.
And the pack leader, how is he doing, keeping them all together?
Raymond. He struggles. He needs guidance. He needs someone to believe in him. He was given false guidance, false faith. He needs true mentorship. But he's growing stronger. Trial by fire is working for him. but it also could make him too hard. It could harden his heart to the point that nothing gets in. And that is what I worry for.
That makes sense.
His empathy is what is making him a good leader. If that goes away, he could be a problem. He is like you. You're a moon.
Right.
His strength isn't what makes him a good leader.
I'll keep an eye on him. He's got a lot on his shoulders, I'm sure. Being that young.
And with that group.
And with that group. I'm glad they have you, somebody they can respect and look to.
I will never leave them. If they go, I go. But I truly believe they are good at their core.
Did you find them?
Yes.
Okay. So, Kinseeker.
Yes.
It's nice to have another lupus-born Kinseeker.
I will be happy to look for you if you need.
Absolutely. We have a Kinseeker in our group as well. Hasn't really stretched his muscles a whole lot, but I think it'd be good to have somebody else around who can relate to him in that way.
I didn't want to intrude and try while I was here, since I was so new. Of course, I have my paws full.
That you do. But if you do get any sense, let us know. It'd be nice to have others here.
Of course.
I appreciate your wisdom.
I guess.
I have history with lupus-borns, and they're much more wise than humans sometimes.
Yes, the Arun.
Yes. Mhm.
I heard he was very good.
He was great.
He did the right thing.
Yeah.
I would have done it too.
Yeah. No, he's great.
Don't be mad at him.
I'll work on it.
It is instinct. That is what we do. We protect what we love. I would do it for my pack, too. It's not complicated. We don't have much more to think of than the thing we love is in danger. We must protect it. We would do anything for the things we love. We won't run from the fight if it means something we love is in danger. Something that humans make more complicated.
That lupus wisdom.
I know it's difficult to accept, but It's something to respect. He must have loved you a great deal.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Is there anything else I can do?
No. Let me know if you guys end up looking further into the fertilizer in that area, seeing if they planted anything else. That'd be great to know. If you guys need anything from me, of course, I'm here. That's kind of my job. So,
Understood. I will ensure that they are ready when they are ready, but I will check with Charles first before taking them anywhere. He said they have days off. Not sure what that means, but
they must have really messed up if they have days off.
I hope not.
Well, good. I hope Charles is doing what he needs to do for them.
They have been sore and sleeping very deeply. I assume that means they are working hard.
Good, good. Maybe they'll learn something from all that hard work.
Yes. Be well, Oathbreaker.
You too, Stakes.
She climbs off the back of the chair and turns it around and puts it back under the table. Then bows her head once more before moving back a couple of steps and then turning and walking back towards the tree line. And as she does, she starts to run and drops to all fours, turning into the red wolf again before bounding into the trees.
Before she, like, disappears into the trees, I'll just yell out, "I'll have steak next time."
You hear a slight bark as she hits the trees. What is Aspen feeling as Stakes disappears off into the foliage?
It's good to have some perspective of the other pack and to kind of know where they're coming from, to know that things were bad in Michigan and that it all kind of makes sense as to why they are the way they are. Not much different than kind of the rest of us here. So she can relate. If anything, it's not, it's moved from worry and anxiousness to like acceptance of they just need to know that they belong, which is something that she's much better at than rehabilitating. So it's nice to talk to Stakes, talk to a lupus born, because they always have like a unique knowledge of what's going on. So that's nice.
The blunt honesty and direct nature of Lupusborns is probably one of the best perspectives you can receive. However, with that blunt honesty comes blunt truth that can sometimes cut to the core of your being. And being confronted with blunt truths, especially those that you are trying to deny even to yourself, can be very, very difficult as well. But having a better understanding of this new pack may make the future a little bit brighter and the potential for success in the city of Tampa a little bit more possible. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. We'll see you in just a little bit. welcome back. In the first half, a lot happened, needless to say. We saw Aspen have a conversation or a proper introduction to Stakes Her Claim, the mentor Lupusborn of the Hell Hounds. We saw Jester get to check in with Artie, who is out acting as an emissary to the Sapt, while also taking some much-needed self-healing recovery time after the loss of Aiden and some trouble in his relationship with Aspen. And, well, Dreams had a much enlightening, informative dream about the history of the Garou of America, as well as learning a lot about the worm and the triad of the worm. But a lot more questions than answers were left at the end of that dream. Now, in the second half, we find two of our Garou in West Chase, Florida, a suburb outside of Tampa, on the edge of Hillsborough County, bordering Pinellas County and Pasco County, just where the peninsula is about to meet the mainland. Aspen, why are we here?
So, with Aspen doing research and trying to find the best place to reach to a carrion type spirit, one closer to the worm than not corrupted worm, but of the worm, to kind of be willing to go into a Piney Point situation, she looked into turkey vultures in the area and had discovered that turkey vultures were kind of a pest within West Chase. And that brought her to believe that maybe there is a domain for maybe a turkey vulture spirit within the area, which would make it much easier for her to summon a turkey vulture spirit there.
Okay. So, Dreams and Aspen, how did you journey to this location? Did you agree to meet at this spot, or did you travel together?
Aspen would have offered to pick up Jason.
He would have gone with her.
Okay, so riding in Aspen's beat-up old sedan, you do arrive at the location kind of near the neighborhood of where the turkey vultures have been particularly pesty. And pulling over, you are near a gathering of homes and businesses, a small neighborhood where they have been particularly noticeable, and you can see why. There is a lot of roadkill. This is a particularly busy intersection where a lot of animals seem to cross over and get hit by cars. There are some farms nearby, as well as some parks and crossings where a lot of the wildlife tend to make their way into the roadway. There's also some areas where it seems like alligators might be tending to congregate, which makes good hunting territory for the birds to pick up kills. So this seems to be a kind of perfect storm of an area for kill dead animals. So the scene is yours.
It's a nice place.
Felt like an appropriate place to go to get what we need.
Yeah, I would agree.
She goes into the back seat and she pulls out a rabbit carcass, like a freshly killed rabbit carcass that she would have hunted with Jester, and hands it over to Jason, and then pulls out a container of ants and hands it over to Jason, and then grabs her bag that has incense and different things in it.
Yeah, bit of a Boy Scout.
You got to be prepared if you're gonna beseech a spirit. You should know that, Thierge.
I'm just surprised that you are so prepared. That's more of a compliment than anything.
Well, I'll take it as such then. Come on. And she'll walk over to like a area off of the road, somewhere where she can kind of not be seen by onlookers.
Drain ditches. There's plenty of places, especially in a highly flooding area, because of where the bay kind of comes up to meet the land here. There's a lot of easily flooded areas here, so there's perfect ditches to just go into off of the roadway that are off the beaten path.
All right. You know what you're doing in this situation, yes?
Yeah, I got it.
Would you like to speak to the bird if we happen to get their attention?
I can definitely broker the conversation.
All right, good. And she'll point to where to put down the rabbit and the container of ants. She'll start setting up the incense and different things. Watching Eliza really getting a lot more comfortable with how to do this ritual, this rite. It kind of feels like second nature with all the times she's seen Eliza do it. But then she sits. She kind of has her own humming, whereas Eliza has her different language. She has her own humming that she does to bring in spirits, and she kind of has Jason pick up the humming with her as she starts and lights the incense and waits to see if a vulture will appear.
Okay. Roll me the roll for the rite of spirit summoning.
Am I able to assist with this?
Yes, absolutely. So you can add a rage die to the roll.
And for the viewers at home, I will be rolling an honor and persuasion. That is 5.
I'm going to assume for the purposes of being able to see the spirit, you brought the aura shades from the talisman repository, as Dreams has the ability to see the spirits in the Umbra and you do not.
Yes, absolutely, I would have.
Okay. So having the aura shades donned and Dreams, I assume, activating your penumbral senses.
Yeah, I'll burn a will
Looking
for it.
into the beyond, Aspen, projecting your senses out, calling out to a turkey vulture spirit, not knowing necessarily the name, but just pushing out the desire for a turkey vulture or a carrion spirit. You push out the call. In this area, death is very apparent. You can see why the turkey vultures and the carrion are called to this area, because on the other side, the worm has definitely had a presence here in the Umbra. There are the presence of bones wrapped within the weaver, and the presence of the weaver on the roadways. The remnants and corpses of perhaps dead spirits or remains of beings left behind litter the ground on the other side. There doesn't seem to be any worm entities necessarily here currently, but it's very apparent that they have been here. There's desiccation and decay, but there's also a presence of the wild and the weaver. As you put out the call throughout the Umbra, there is a definite response. As looking up overhead, high up, in the endless sky above, a dot appears. Way, way, way above. And then a second one. And then a third. And they start to circle. The dots grow larger as they descend slowly, continuing to circle around. As they grow closer and closer, it's very clear that they are bird-shaped. They aren't vultures, but carrion crows. And before long, they descend until they settle upon a long, gnarled tree branch that hangs over the ditch that you have positioned yourselves in. Landing on the tree branch, they sit one next to another, all in a line, looking down upon the kill that you have positioned between you. Speaking one word at a time between the three of them. What have we here?
All you,
An
Jason.
offering. An offering.
A fresh offering?
Look down briefly. Fresh enough.
One of the carrion looks over to the other. They kind of chirp at one another for a moment. Then one of the birds flaps its wings, dropping down to the ground on your level. It kind of starts waddling in your direction before giving out a screech, kind of beckoning at both of you to back away from the kill.
Please.
It moves forward, grabs at the rabbit, and starts dragging it backwards until it pulls it beneath the branch away from you. The other two carrion drop down from the branch until all three of them are positioned around the kill. Fresh enough. What do you want?
Well, as you're all well aware, you are great seekers, finders, and scavengers. Things hard to find, you guys make a way of making it found, which is something that I strive to do myself. But there's a place that even is far too challenging even for the likes of me. But I feel like it'd be a good challenge for something along your guys' forte, the lines of work.
One of the birds lets out like a guttural chirp that almost sounds like a chuckle. Too difficult for the likes of you? Mighty Garou.
I am able to go to different places and be unseen, but not to the likes that you all are able to.
You're kind. Too proud for us. Too mighty for us.
Some would say so. And some would say they're too proud to even talk to you, but here we are.
Has the fight gotten so dire?
fight is all-
Desperate are you?
Desperate's a strange word. The fight's always dire. Guy is in need. is in desperate need for help. And using the word desperate, it can be perceived as different ways. Coming to talk to you all is a overall help we do need.
Yes. We can smell her. The circling has begun. The end is near.
That's why the Garou push harder than ever now.
Why?
Because our fight's not done. Just because the circling has begun does not mean we're going to give up and roll over. That's not what Garou do. I do not say that I am a great fighter, but I am still Garou and I will fight. There are Garou out there that are pushing hard and trying to stop what's going on. And we're doing our part here to make sure that the fight doesn't get any worse.
What about you? And they look at Aspen.
What about me?
You wanted to give up?
But I haven't.
Yet.
I don't intend to. Or else I wouldn't be here right now with you.
True.
I also think I think we need to work together on this problem. Together. I feel like in the past, I've not been communicative with the spirits well enough, and that is something I regret deeply. And I think what's happening now is affecting all of us, and we all need to communicate better and do this together. Because if we did it on our own without you, it would be a disservice to you all as well.
We wish Storm had left something for us.
I understand. And Storm is reckless in spirit and moves erratically. It wasn't Storm's fault. Really, it was our fault. And I'd like to fix what relationship we have between us and spirit in whatever way I can. So if I could get you anything or help in any way other than us requesting this on its own part, please let me know.
How do you know we are not foe?
Why would you be foe?
One of the carrion ducks down towards the kill, rustles around, and then pops back up. And in its beak, it holds an eyeball before gulping it down.
You live off the land just as any other wild spirit. You take and use the resources you have within your means. Is it close to what some would think of as the worm? Sure. But I think everything has its place, and everything is about a cycle when it comes to life as well.
Interesting. Others don't think that.
Others aren't what we're trying to do here.
You will find the Garou here are different than the ones from the past.
Oh, yes. We have seen. What do you want?
There's a place, Piney Point. I've beckoned with other spirits, but they are unwilling to try and seek out to see what goes on there. More offerings may come your way if you head out that way. Scout, scavenge, pick what you need off over there. Just bring back some information from that place, and we can move forward from there.
They look amongst one another, look down at the kill, look back at you. Better than one slow old rabbit.
Yes. Further information, good information, better the rewards.
What would you prefer? What would be your preference?
Dear.
A deer? We can make that happen when we meet again and exchange information.
With horns.
A buck. Understood.
We will go, but is very dangerous. Might not like what we find.
All we're looking for is information, good, bad, or otherwise.
Agreed.
Thank you for meeting with us and agreeing to the terms.
I'll work on that buck for you.
We won't hold our breaths. The birds take off to the sky, and as you look towards the offering, all that's left are bones.
I think that went well.
You you did great. You held your own very well against them.
I've got some practice.
Yeah, they like to twist things and poke. So well done.
I have a bird patron, so I kind of have an idea of how they like to, I guess you could say, soar in circles, pun intended.
Right. Best not to bring up the whole falcon thing around them, but yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what to do with these ants. I was hoping for a vulture, and maybe they could, rub it on their feathers. That's what vultures do. But I don't know if crows do that. So
I'm not sure. Not really an avian kind of person overall. Just are they in like a container? I'll take them.
sure. She hands them over.
Can find a use for something.
Just don't
Never had
open
an-
them in my car.
Okay. Never had an ant farm, so
If you're into that sort of thing, sure, it could be entertaining.
yeah, find a use for it. But no, you did great. Now we'll actually hopefully get something out of this.
I figured it'd been about time to try and push a little harder, make sure it got done.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming out. I've had had a hell of a time trying to get anyone to make headway out there. So thank you.
Of course, let me know if they come in contact with you, and I'll do the same, vice versa. Are you any good at hunting?
No, well, it depends on hunting for what. If we're talking about that buck, no, I'm not your guy.
Well, let's see what Jester could do. I don't know if you could tell, but by the way the birds were mocking me, I'm not great at it either. So
Yeah, I don't know what they're saying about rabbits being slow, but from what I've seen, they're pretty quick. But I'm not really one to be chasing rabbits.
it's a new pastime. So
That would pass my entire day, literally the entire day.
glad to know that there's somebody worse at it out there than me. So
Well, I'm not saying worse, just not great. Not saying it's competition, just we can't compare, but I'm not good at it.
well, it'll make me feel better if I say that you're worse. So I'm gonna keep that.
Anything to make the pack leader feel better about themselves, hate
Exactly.
pay for like self-loathing to really settle in. That'd be awful.
Exactly. So, you get ants, I get a higher self-esteem. It's a good exchange.
One of the worst deals I've ever struck, but yeah.
Well, you better get better at it, or you're not going to do great with spirits. And she'll nudge towards the car to get in.
As the two of you
Asshole.
return to the sedan, climbing in, you now have scouts headed towards Piney Point. But little do you know, one of them is already there. We transition now to Piney Point. Lucas, you made the journey south. Over an hour ride on your motorcycle brings you to the small community of Piney Point. Piney Point not just being the location of the factory that was closed down, the water treatment plant that caused a massive toxic spill, but it is actually a small community nearby with a school, a historic lighthouse, several stores and homes and businesses. But you're not interested in the community. You're interested in the factory that was closed and now is under new management. The factory that, as you pull up to the fenced off driveway that you've visited twice before, seems to have experienced some great improvements since the last time you were here, because it is not just a chain link fence with a chain and a padlock holding the fence closed at the end of the driveway near the main roadway anymore. No, it is a steel barred fence with an electric locked gate with a punch keypad that is right by the road. as well as the one that you know is hundreds of yards down the driveway with the guard booth, as well as you pull up on your motorcycle at the edge of the roadway. What time of day are you arriving at the location?
I'd say mid to late afternoon.
Okay. So the sun is still up in the sky, but it's getting closer towards dusk when you arrive. There are security cameras pointed at the driveway, at the entryway to the facility, to go down the driveway towards the facility itself, with the driveway that was once gravel having now become paved leading into the facility. So it looks like they have actually repaved the driveway as well. Are you actually going to go into sight of the cameras in front of the gate or no?
The camera is probably mounted on some kind of pedestal, some kind of like, pole.
Yeah, it's on the edge of the gate, like on the actual fence itself, the metal like fence pointed down towards the driveway.
Is there a wire coming off of it?
Yeah.
Can I reach that wire?
No, it's like a 10-foot fence.
Okay. All right. Then I will take the motorcycle, take it just a little bit off the road. And then I'm going to head out down the fence line to roughly the same point that I hopped it before.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and hair's leap over it.
Okay. So calling upon the power of the hair. Does that require a willpower or a rage check?
That's going to be a rage check.
Okay. Let's go ahead and make that rage check for me.
Good to go.
Okay. So as you call upon the spirit of the hair, you feel the muscles in your legs tense, getting into the springing position. It's easy enough jump. I won't even make you roll for it. You spring over to the other side, landing on the other side. Now, you know that there's several hundred yards between here and the next fence line, but there are some trees that kind of cover the way between here and the next fence, which is the factory area proper.
Lucas will just start making his way to roughly that same point where he got to the other fence. He's trying to kind of follow the same path that he did the second time that he came.
Okay. Roll me a wits and awareness.
Rage 2?
Rage
1?
2, yeah.
Rage 2, okay.
I would say in anticipation of going back to Piney Point, your rage would increase due to the icky feeling you had the last time you were here.
Gonna be 3 successes.
As you move through the grassy knoll, heading towards the woodlands, moving up near the fence line, looking at the trees, it's almost immediately apparent what's changed. The trees are absolutely covered in these purple petaled flowers. And they are massive. And the eyes on the petals are following you. Every single step you take, the irises on the flowers are tracing your steps along the way. And by covering, I mean the vines stretch from the ground, wrapping all the way around the tree, almost all the way up to the top of the tree, over the branches where these flowers decorate the branches of the trees, the base of the trees. If a tree could be covered in security cameras, that's what you would imagine this tree, or all of these trees, to be. You are beyond being watched right now. More so than that, among the trees, there are these large, almost vase-like bulbs in between the trees that seem like, I'm trying to describe, like tulip bulbs. But they're a dark green that are closed, and they have these leaf-like patterns at the bottom that are sprouted out at other sides. Now, like the tulip itself is probably about 3 feet tall and about 2 feet diameter wide when it's shut. And there are probably about 6 of them amidst the trees.
This sounds just like what Aspen and Jester described at the pack meeting. So at least the eyes, the larger flower pods are something completely new. So I'll make mental note of those, but I'll kind of watch the flowers back as I'm walking kind of past them. But I am going to keep a pretty healthy distance from the pods. Those seem like something else that I don't know what they're capable of. But as I'm walking past the flowers, he'll just look at one that's rather close to him and just smile and say, "Your containment protocols are shit."
Okay. You just watch the eyes blink in response.
Is the fence, is it more of a wall or more of a fence?
This deep in, it looks like it's become more of a wall.
Is it large enough for me to land on the top of it? Not jump to the other side.
I would say it's not thick enough for you to land on the top of it. I mean, you could, if you had cat feet, maybe you could walk along the top of it, but it would be very hard to balance otherwise.
Then I will just stay on this side until he's anticipating that he's going to hear a Jeep pull up again.
Okay.
And he'll just kind of wait for that.
Okay. As you see the facility come into sight, crossing the tree line, what was a kind of clearing before leading to the facility itself, now you see a line of shrubs that kind of decoratively line the front of the facility. Just nicely trimmed, boxed off shrubs that make a line around the front of the facility to the edge of the driveway and then around again. You would either have to go to the driveway or go over the shrubs to get to the wall of the facility.
I'm going to use Scent of the True Form on the shrubs.
Okay.
That is a willpower to spend.
Also, it looks like all of the fencing here has been also replaced by that iron barred fencing versus the chain link that was once there before.
5 successes.
It is a plant and something else. There is something different about this plant. There is a wormy, baney feel to this plant.
The words, I don't want to get near it. But I imagine that's the point. So he'll just glance back over at the trees with the eyes on him again and just kind of like shrug his arm out and start walking towards where the gate is.
As you get to the driveway, there are speakers and cameras mounted by the driveway, and the speakers click on. And of course, Vanessa's melodic voice comes over the speakers. Mr. Shaw, all you had to do was ring the doorbell. There's no need for subterfuge.
Yeah, but my little stroll through the woods was informative.
Do you like my garden?
Is this what you were working on when we last talked?
Oh, it's just the beginning. Wait till you see what's inside. That's what you're here for, isn't it?
Some of your experiments have made it out of here. I don't know what you're doing, but if you do want to talk, then I think we have to ask each other the same questions we asked each other last time.
What is it that they like to say? Life finds a way. But certainly, let's talk. And you hear a buzz, and the gate rolls open.
He'll step through.
Once again, as before, headlights turn on further in the complex, and a Jeep comes rolling up. The Jeep is painted solid black, the windows tinted. There is a driver in the front seat, but in the back seat, the doors open and Vanessa steps out. She is dressed, again, very fancily in a mini skirt and a blazer. Her hair done up in a bun, some loose strands framing her face, spectacles. So let's talk, shall we?
No harm to each other?
Do you seek to bring harm?
No. Do you?
I don't see any reason I should.
Right. Deal's a deal.
She gestures to the other door as she climbs back in her door.
He'll step in.
Climbing into the car, there's a wonderful aroma of lavender that hits your senses as you climb in. The car immediately kicks into gear and starts driving. There's a little divider window between the driver's seat and the back seat as it rolls over towards the greenhouse area that you were at before. Eventually it parks. She climbs out and moves towards the doors to the greenhouse. So what would you like to talk about, Mr. Shaw?
What is all this for?
Evolution.
Evolution for security systems?
Not necessarily. I suppose yes and no. I think that both you and I can agree that the world, well, it's a little too concrete, wouldn't you say?
On that, we may indeed agree on. Yes.
It's a little too gray, a little too silver, a little too chrome. Needs a little bit more green, a little bit more brown, a little bit more color. But nature struggled with that. Just can't keep up. Every time it tries to get a leg up, that gray, that chrome just pushes it down, steps on it, squashes it. Now they say they're going to help. They say they're going to put programs in place. But are they really? I know, and you know, who I work for. You're not dumb, Mr. Shaw. But I'm part of a special division of my organization. A division that those in my organization, if they'd found out about, would be quite displeased existed. Because it's counterintuitive to some of their interests. Because they don't like the green. They don't like the brown. They like that crude black. They like the red and the crimson. They love the gold. And the one green they're interested in doesn't exist and isn't grown. Well, I don't know about you, but frankly, I'm tired of struggling to breathe. I'm tired of all of the gray. I'm tired of watching all of the green places grow smaller and smaller. I'm tired of watching everything grow hotter and hotter, even in places like this where it was already warm to begin with. Could you believe that within our lifetime, this place could be underwater? Just like that. Sunk. Where we're standing right now. Completely submerged. I know what this place used to be. It's a terrible thing. Terrible what it did. That's why it needs to be repurposed. It needs to be cleaned up. And what they've tried to do to clean it up is a mockery. The work I'm doing can do just that.
Do you think that maybe a little less gray and silver and chrome might be a better answer? That there could be balance?
Do you think they'd ever allow that?
No, that's not the question.
We've tried that, Lucas. We've tried that for years. Decades. You and I both know it doesn't work. It just keeps expanding. There are more empty homes than there are unhoused individuals. And they keep building more.
How long do you think you can hide this from them?
I'm not trying to hide it. And I think you know that.
I mean, you said the rest of your organization found out about it.
Them?
Yes.
Oh, I think they've got plenty to distract themselves with. They're not worried about little old me. They have other interests. This place, it's barely a drop in the bucket. You Michigan, you're not on the radar. That's why it's perfect soil to sow the seeds.
And by the time they do pay attention to you, it's too late.
Now you're getting it.
A green world.
Wouldn't it be nice to breathe again? Wouldn't it be nice to start over? To take back? No more fighting from behind.
So you're still an idealist. That's good to know. I'd hate for them to have gotten to you.
Could be a foolish endeavor. I am also a realist. I see what they can do. I've seen what they can do. I've been within the organization long enough to know what they're capable of. But all it takes is a spark. And a little bit of elbow grease. And I've got both.
I could see that. So what do the tulips do? Those are large flowers. The only thing I know that's that big is a corpse flower.
They're like an air freshener.
Interesting.
They help you breathe better.
Something to do with the pollen, I imagine?
Well, there are a lot of pollens in this area. Get those
Yes.
allergies going. Call it an antihistamine of sorts.
Okay. I'll buy it. Okay. So what's the next step?
I just keep working on my research. And as long as I have less interference, the better. I can't make progress if I have others getting in the way. Now I understand that to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs. And not everyone always agrees with that. But how many eggs did they break? How many dozens of eggs did they break? We can't even buy eggs because of the eggs they've broken.
So what do you need from me?
Stop hurting my babies.
I'll put the word out. I don't make all the decisions,
I
but
know.
I can promise you I'm the only one that's going to come here and talk to you like this.
Oh, I'm sure. The others don't quite understand, and I get why. They see those little letters and they know the reputation. And I get it. If I could change the name and get the same funding and resources, believe me, I would. Doesn't quite work that way. You gotta play the game to stay in the game.
You're not too different from them.
That's the difference between winners and losers. How has your side fared, Lucas? And don't tell me fine, because we both know that's not true.
No, we've been losing for a long time. I don't need to tell you that. We both know that.
And that isn't meant to rub it in your face, because I think it's a tragedy. I don't see why we need to fight each other. You could fight them, certainly. They deserve it. The things that they have done have brought so much gray, and I don't care for that at all. They have overstepped, overdrawn, overtaken. How much do you really need?
Not that much.
Certainly not.
I will have, for a time, make it look like something is being done.
Of course.
So, out of where your babies are, you may lose a sight.
Of course. Break a few eggs. I'm expecting to lose some of my own. But you take and you give, and I am sure in the long run I will take more than I give.
Well, like I said earlier, with these containment protocols, you're definitely giving quite a bit right now.
Oh, yes.
But now I understand. I realize that you're also not going to fully trust me, which I'm sure you realize that is completely reciprocated.
Well, it's a lot harder without your companion to trust you. I'm sorry about that, by the way.
Yeah, that was a decision. So
Must have been a difficult one.
that's a word for it. Yeah.
If it helps, I could use company resources to see what I can see and find what we can find. As you know, we have access to certain things that your side of the fence doesn't necessarily look highly upon. We could ask around.
I appreciate that.
Do you have a name?
Hashugat.
Then, as an act of goodwill and furthering trust between us, I will do this pro bono on the house.
And I'll see what I can do on my end then.
Wonderful.
Well, working hours are about to wrap up and I don't want to keep you.
Of course. Would you like something to take home with you?
Something that will not wither away as soon as it's removed.
A little parting gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
She goes into the greenhouse and a moment later returns with a potted plant. And it is a Venus flytrap. For you.
Lucas will take it and look at it and just kind of smile. Yeah, that's fitting. At least you have a sense of humor. That That I can't appreciate.
Mr. Shaw, a pleasure as always. And like I said, next time just use the doorbell. We are still testing the effects of my kids, and I would hate for you to fall prey to their unpredictable tendencies.
Well, there's one thing I learned: don't go touching plants you don't know anything about.
Certainly.
So yes. Very well. It's fine. I don't like it, but I'll use the road next time.
Thank you. As I said, no harm will come to you as long as you bring no harm.
We'll keep that.
Take care of yourself, Mr. Shaw. And as I said, I will keep an eye out. I will put out feelers for Hashigat, and if I find anything, I will most certainly let you know.
I'll take out one of the burner phones and give her the number to one of the burner phones that Artie gave me, the ones that are not traceable, that are not trackable.
Oh. And ask Deadbeat if he bought his PS5.
I'm sure that'll make sense at some point.
I'm sure it will.
Okay. Okay.
Have a good night.
You too.
You turn, get back in the Jeep. She doesn't get in with you, but the driver drives you to the front gate, letting you out as the gate wheels open, and you walk the rest of the way to the front. The eyes on the trees follow you, making sure you go all the way to the front gate, and the gate wheels open upon your arrival at it until you get to your motorcycle. What is Lucas thinking about this encounter with Vanessa at Piney Point?
Lucas has been in some really hairy, dangerous things before, but the game he's about to play may be the hardest and most dangerous game that he ever has or will play. He'll get on his motorcycle, ride off a little bit until he gets near where he can see the water of the bay, and then he'll take out his phone and send a text to Aspen. Need to meet with you alone at your convenience.
Okay. We transition now to our final scene of the evening. Jester, for the last few weeks, ever since the raid, ever since you've discovered these feelings for Charles, ever since your conversation with Aspen and your conversation with Eliza, you have been a conflict of emotions. Ever since you revealed at the biker bar that you were afraid to love again. After Aspen reaffirmed those fears by saying everyone leaves. After Eliza and Chloe said, take the leap. It's worth the risk. It's been too hard to decide. It's been kind of better to just avoid it. So that's what you've done. Other than for the purposes of doing Garou business, going on patrol, going on raids, fighting leeches, training, handling pack business. For at least the last week, you've been avoiding the normal routine at the apartment. You haven't come home for dinner. You've stayed out late, usually coming home after Charles has gone to bed, or left first thing in the morning, or stayed in bed until after he's left for the day. to go to training with the Hell Hounds. You used to cook dinner together, knowing how much he loves to cook, acting as his sous chef, but that hasn't happened in several days. So this evening, when you arrive home, it's probably 2 in the morning. Tiptoeing in the door, unlocking the doorway, going into the dark apartment, silently closing the door behind you. You start to quietly move across the apartment to head to the hallway that leads to your bedroom when the lamp in the living room turns on. And in the armchair, where he's usually reading, sits Charles. In his suit and tie, dressed as if he's going about his usual daily business.
I will freeze. Suddenly taken back to like when I was, a kid. Why are you sitting in the dark?
I suppose for dramatic effect.
Okay.
We need to talk.
Yeah, I suppose we do.
Will you talk with me?
Sure.
You have been acting strange recently, and I'd like to know why.
I've been really busy recently.
As have I.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that is the cause for your recent behavior. We have been busy before. We are Garou. We are always busy. But that has not stopped us from adhering to a routine and enjoying one another's company.
Well, I mean, I've started taking a journalism course, so it's taking a lot more time to study, I'm a bit slow at those things. Chloe's been helping me out, but you've had the pups, so
I would always make time for you. At least dinner together.
it's really nice and all, but I mean, that all started because I wasn't eating, and I'm eating now. I, kind of, in fact, I am better, so maybe, I don't know, maybe it's time I move out.
Is that what you want?
I don't need to keep imposing on you.
It was never an imposition. Is that what you want?
Definitely not meeting his eyes, kind of just looking at the floor. Yeah, I guess so.
Why are you lying?
Why are you accusing me of lying so quickly?
I have dealt with a lot of liars recently. I have become quite attuned to it. What's going on?
I mean, there's a lot going on right now.
You have never been shy to tell me your feelings and what has been going through your mind. Not until recently. What changed?
Everything? I mean, come on, like, a lot to wrap my head around. Plants, mega corporation, trying to deal with Aspen's problems.
What problems?
Her emotional issues. I mean, not that she could totally be wrong. Maybe it is better not to feel for people.
You keep talking about these emotional issues. I have not detected any emotional issues with Aspen. She is capably leading the Sept.
She's hunting rabbits to fulfill Aiden's spirit pact.
It is important to train in the art of hunting, yes.
No, she's delivering them to Aiden.
Aiden is dead. That seems pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Is she trying to honor his passing?
In a way, I suppose.
We all
Or
grieve
not.
loss differently. Perhaps
That's true.
this is her grieving. What does this have to do with you?
It's just that I have a lot on my mind. And trying to balance so many plates, it's got me all sorts of ways.
Then talk with me. That is how we dealt with this before. Keeping it all to yourself is what led you to have problems, what caused the difficulties you experienced before. I want to help you.
I know, but
What did she say to you? That night. That night you went to see her.
which night?
You and Aspen encountered one another. You were on patrol.
We talked about stories and rabbits and bringing them to Aiden. Talked about watching movies.
What else? Aspen is not the small talk type.
You're saying my stories is small talk?
No. But she also talks business with almost every meeting.
We didn't talk about business.
Which is strange. What did you talk about?
Girl talk?
You're being evasive. And normally I would find that quite charming. But this is not playfully evasive.
Maybe I want to keep it to myself.
Do you trust me?
Yes.
Then I refuse to accept that.
What?
I refuse to accept that.
Hold on. You are all about personal privacy.
I am.
Do you know how many secrets I am keeping from you or keeping
Yes.
for you? And you're refusing to accept me trying to keep something.
From me, yes.
Why?
Because you haven't before. When you needed to take care of the situation with Leon, who was there?
You.
When you needed to say goodbye, who was there?
You.
In all of your most vulnerable moments, since my arrival, who was there?
Fine. 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 I am in love with you, and it is scaring the hell out of me.
Why?
I don't know. Ryder and Holly. Eliza and Blackrock. Me and Leon. Aspen and Artie. We don't have happy endings. I nearly lost myself with Leon. And I think if I fell farther in love with you, which is possible, it would be much worse. And maybe what Aspen told me was right. She sounded a lot like you, but maybe not getting emotionally attached to people is best.
You see his mouth harden into a line as you say, Aspen says you were right. Then he kind of shakes it off.
Artie left because Spider told him he was a fly instead of a spider, because he was too caught up emotionally with Aspen.
Jester, you're right. We don't have happy endings. As Garou, it is our job to sacrifice everything for Gaia. We will die fighting for Gaia. But the difference in all of those stories is that we shouldn't try for a happy ending. We should try for a happy everything before that.
I know. I know. But it's not just living for today and experiencing new things. Not afraid of the dying. It's afraid of living without you and becoming my mother.
Then don't live without me, live with me. Because I'm in love with you too. It's why I sought you out in the woods. It's why I stood beside you through all of those moments. You are why I bound myself to that cairn. The only reason. Because I wasn't going to live without you or die without you.
What if the other silver fangs caught you away? Yeah, you'll come back. Eventually. But nobody knows what happens, really, when we're dying. With all that.
I don't belong to that nation anymore.
Do you mean it?
Let me show you how much. And he stands up and takes your hand and pulls you up off the couch. And pulls you in for a deep and passionate kiss. He then lifts you up into his arms, still kissing you, and starts walking down the hallway towards both of your bedroom.
I'll wrap my legs around him and completely get lost in the kiss.
I'd ask you what you're thinking, but honestly, who can think in a moment like this? This is where our story comes to a close this evening. But not without one last scene. We find ourselves in a very lavish hotel room. It's a suite, a very, very familiar suite, where we find Matthias Morningkill sitting at the edge of his king-sized bed. His hair, which is normally well manicured and slicked back, is a kind of disheveled mess. His tailored suit has been ripped off, his shirt ripped open, buttons scattered on the floor. His hands are gripping his knees as he heaves and breathes deeply. His eyes are downcast on the floor. And then, over his shoulders, we see two women's hands run over his shoulders and down his arms as we see Vanessa's head come next to his face and give him a kiss on the cheek before raking her fingers up along his arms. As she says, "Hashget." And that is where our story comes to a close this evening. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to all of the viewers at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media down below and in the description. We've got Hell Hounds this Friday over on YouTube, so go watch that live at 7 p.m. on YouTube. And then come back here on Tuesday next week for the next episode of Rage Across Tampa, because it's all of the werewolf action you can stomach. It's an amazing, amazing experience, and we want you to be a part of all of it because we love, 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 love taking you on this amazing journey with us. But for these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Good night.